What is going down, you guys? We got very boring backdrop going on today, but that's okay because today I don't want to talk to you guys as Bearded Retro 84. I want to talk to you guys as Kyle. Um, you know, want to give you guys a little bit about my past. I'm not going to go into extreme details about everything, but I want to maybe just kind of let you guys know why I love the things I love and how discovering gaming and collecting the different things that I collect for has essentially saved my life throughout the years. Um, this is all coming on because over the last 3 weeks, I've had two separate people get in contact with me who are struggling with depression and feeling down. And, one person was a close personal friend of mine, and she was feeling down and going through tough times and give asking for advice because she knows I've gone through so much of this stuff. And I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I talked to her as best I could. And the second person is somebody I've never met before. It was someone who randomly stumbled across one of my YouTube videos and enjoyed it, and it made them feel better with what they were struggling. And what happened is I was talking about something nostalgic, and they started to get nostalgia feelings for it, loving some of the same stuff I was talking about. And I just so happened to mention that I love it because it helps me deal with my depression. And it's something that person was struggling with too, and they realized they weren't alone, and that it helped them to get their mind away from reality for a little bit and just be entertained by somebody. So, I mean, that right there, that is no matter what, if I never get another subscriber or a follower or anything like that, that makes all this worthwhile and why I want to continue to do this. It starts out being something you just want to entertain people. You want to get your word out there about your feelings about certain things. You want to maybe introduce people to new stuff that they might enjoy as much as you do. That's why I started putting videos up. But to actually have somebody say that you help them, it's it's like it takes the feeling you get for a positive comment. It takes everything up to a whole new level. Now, this video, it's going to 100% be whatever happens, happens in it. I am not going to start it over. I am not going to edit stuff out. I'm not going to add anything to it. I am just going to talk from my heart. And, I tried going through my mind of what to say and what to bring up and what to leave private. And essentially, every time I tried running this through my head, it was never the same. So I decided I am just gonna, well, first I'm gonna adjust the camera just a little bit. And I'm just going to talk about what pops in my mind and hope that it might help one of you or give one of you a better understanding of why I do the videos that I do, or maybe help one of you to help a friend or a family member out. Uh, First of all, I am going to say if you're somebody who's struggling right now, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It means you actually want to feel better. And yeah, I might not be able to help you, but you're taking a chance that somebody can help you out a little bit. And that's a big step. I with all the years I have battled with clinical depression and anxiety and major depressive disorder and all that fun stuff, I remember going back to the beginning of it, and I remember the times it was really bad. And I know the last things you want to hear are that, oh, I know what you're going through. Because no, nobody knows exactly what you're going through. Someone like me or somebody else that might have struggled with it, they might know parts of what you're going through, but nobody is going to go through the exact same thing and nobody's going to feel the same stuff as you. But there are people that might feel similar to how you have felt that might be able to help you out a little bit. And the other thing is, I know a big thing people go through is not wanting to take medications. I was the same way. Medications, I didn't want to be the artificial happy, as I called it. I just wanted to be a normal person. And, nowadays I look at it and currently I'm not on any medications, but in all honesty, I was diagnosed with this when I was 13 and I am now 33 years old. So I have literally spent 20 years learning to deal with it. And yes, I still have my struggles every single day. Some days worse than the others, but I've trained myself to find other things to bring me joy, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But if you're somebody, if you don't know how to fix your thought process, if you don't feel comfortable taking medication, I mean, a way you can look at it is it is no different. You taking a pill to help, chemical balance your brain, it is no different than a diabetic needing insulin. It is no different than a somebody with high blood pressure or heart condition having to take a pill. It is no different. It is just a little thing. Your body produces too much or not enough of something. And that's all it does is balance it out. And it can be a lifesaver. I know from experience. And I mean, you know, if you feel it's something, oh, it's not natural, well, neither is chemotherapy, yet people will get chemotherapy when they have stage 3 or higher cancer. That's something not natural, but that is somebody who's fighting to continue living, which, yes, it is a very extreme case, but essentially, if you suffer from depression and are sad all the time, getting help is you fighting to live, because I have been at the bottom of the barrel where I have attempted to take my own life on more than one occasion. So, if you're still with me, thank you. I hope something I can said might help. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal experiences I've had. Uh, like I said before, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder when I was 13 years old. So 20 years ago. And, you start out, I was seeing the psychologists and the psychiatrists, and I was on medication and just not helping, low dosage of medication, not helping, not helping. I was picked on a lot growing up. I had the braces. I had puberty hit me before so many other people. I was fat. I was always one of the biggest people around, and I would get my ass kicked by the smallest on occasion because I would never fight back. I would never stick up for myself. I already felt so bad about myself that I thought they had a reason to treat me like they did. And over time, everything kept bottling up and bottling up. And when I was 15 years old, I attempted suicide for the first time. I was about to hang myself in the garage. And, I ended up going to the hospital and getting hospitalized. And while I was there, they upped my medication to the max dosage I could get. And it finally started to work. It finally started to even everything out for me. And, after a couple weeks, I was able to get out of the hospital. And, I started just going on with my life. I was a little happier, a little better. And, they started weaning me off my medication slowly. Well, it didn't get as bad as it was the first time, but when I was 16, I contemplated suicide. I was hospitalized for suicidal ideation. I was planning out, I was thinking about killing myself, but I didn't attempt on it. And I told somebody before I got to that point. And so I was hospitalized again for 3 days and once again maxed up my dosages of medication. And I was released 3 days later and I started going about my life. At this point, I started developing a love for video games. Um, I started to find them as an escape from reality. Yes, before this, I had the games, I played them, but it was more just something to do to pass time or something to do with a friend, which I had like one close friend at that time, and that's what we did together. We played video games. And, it started to get to the point where I could get in. Finally, I started getting enthralled in stories of games. I started to wonder what's going to happen next. It was like watching a movie, except I was controlling the movie. And it became something that could bring me away. Whether I was down, depressed, felt like absolute garbage, didn't want to get out of bed, I could pop in a video game and just lose myself in that environment, in that world, in that story. I became part of that character. And it became something I would do when I was down and depressed. I would put a video game in and I would try to just lose myself in the story. About the same time, I also, like you discover stuff packed away that your parents just never threw away from your childhood, whether it be in a crawl space, an attic, a garage, whatever. I started finding old things from my childhood that weren't video game related. I would find my old Light Bright, and I loved that so much as a kid. I would find old Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joes or Masters of the Universe toys or Star Wars figures. And I was way too old to be playing with toys, but would I would get that rush of nostalgia, and just looking at them would make me happy, especially remembering the times and how many hours of entertainment and fun I had playing with them. And I would put them up on my shelf in my room just to look at, kind of decorative pieces. And back when I was doing all this stuff, it was before video game collecting and toy collecting and comic book collecting. Like, it was before all this stuff was cool and was a normal thing that so many people love this today. This is before all of that. This is before all these YouTube channels of people who are talking about nothing but this stuff. And, it became my escape. For a long time there, I did not need any medications to deal with my major depressive disorder. And, that kind of became the thing I fell in love with that brought me away. Well, then I hit my early 20s. And, it was something I would hide from people. Like, oh, no, don't come over. I'll come over to your place, or we'll go to the bar or something. Like, you hide it because you don't want to feel like such a dork or anything. And it's embarrassing to you. And like I said, I mean, it's before it was so popular to do that. Why would I want people to know it so I can get made fun of? Well, you know, about that point, this is, I had, with all the stuff that I was picked on in high school and middle school about, like, I started getting skinny. I got a lot skinnier. I started to actually be a decent looking guy. And, I was a bartender. I was a good bowler and did a bunch of leagues and stuff like that. And it got to the point where, I was developing a life and I didn't want to hide anything in my life. So I essentially started selling all this stuff and packing it away and throwing it away and giving it away and whatever else have you, even though that was kind of my escape for a while there. But, you get to the point you want to go drink and bring women home. That's what you want to do. And, you know, for a while there, I shut a door on something that made me happy and that brought me away from reality to try to open up a new door of stuff I thought would make me happier at the time. And I'd gotten to the point I still like my beer and occasional hard drinks, but I'm much better about it than I used to be. But like I got to a point I was so down and depressed that I was drinking hard liquor all day every day. I was drinking to get shit faced and pass out eventually. That's what I did, and I'd wake up and I'd start it all over again. I would pass out, wake up, start drinking, pass out, wake up. It became my way of life. Like I was drinking before I'd go to work just to get through the day. I was drinking while I was at work. I was drinking after work. Not all the time, but I mean, I was because that developed into my way of dealing with everything. And it got so bad that it was 24 or 25 years old. I once again attempted to kill myself. I took about 200 pills and was washing it away with liquor. And it took me getting hospitalized again. This time was for about a week. And while I'm in there, I realized just how much I was starting to throw my life away. And that wasn't something I wanted anymore. And when I got out, I decided I wasn't going to give a damn what anyone ever thought about me again. I was going to be who I was. I was going to love the things I loved. And that started me getting into collecting again. And that started getting me into gaming again. And I was rebuying an NES so I could play it again. I was rebuying a Sega Genesis. I was rebuying all this stuff that brought me so much joy. So I could once again just get lost in these stories and in these environments. And in all honesty, I've never lost sight of that again. And now I'm at a point where I don't take medications anymore. And yes, I still have my days I struggle a little more than others, but I'm able to go down into my man cave, or as I call it, my nerdvana, my game room, my nerd cave, whatever you want to call it. And I am able to just walk in there and I can look at I can look at Ninja Turtle sitting on the shelf and I can just feel that overwhelming sense of nostalgia and joy coming through me, that it helps me. I can have people over and they're like in shock and awe with some of the stuff I have down there. You know, uh, it's at a point where, yes, now it is a normal thing to collect these and it's not so rare and uncommon anymore. But I mean, I still am at the point where I will just straight up tell people this is what I do and this is why and this is how it's helped me throughout the years. And I mean, even my wife, I we met when we both worked at Walmart together, and it was kind of a love at first sight thing. It started out we were just flirting, really hardcore, and we did that for a couple weeks, and then we fell in love, and we would started dating and stayed up all night. And I told her too. I'm like, just so you know, I've got, you know, whatever, however many video games and systems, and I have a bunch of toys that I display, and she just accepted it. She's like, okay, whatever, okay, okay. And that's really a time where it's like I almost feel stupid about hiding it in the past, because there are other people that just know that makes you who you are and that enjoy it. And I mean, no matter what I've done in my life, yes, I have times I want to kick myself in the ass and that I could just beat myself up and hate myself for. But I honestly, my theory is I did not make mistakes. I made experiences. Every experience I've gone through has brought me to who I am today. Somebody who loves video games, comic books, toys, is a loving husband, stepdad, soon to be father. And, you know, if I found people, everyone accepts me for who I am nowadays. And I think it all to becoming a gamer and a collector, because I honestly don't think if I would have discovered this joy and passion I have for it, I honestly don't know if I'd still be around today or if my life would be where it is. So, anyway, guys, I've rambled on for almost 22 minutes. Sorry if it kind of jumped around on there, and sorry if it's anything you guys weren't interested in. But I'm hoping maybe one or two of you take something away from this, and that'll make everything I do worthwhile. You know, don't be afraid to be yourself. If you're feeling down, talk to somebody. You know, what's it gonna hurt? You took the attempt to watch this video. That must mean you're willing to try to feel better. So be yourself, be happy with who you are, and don't change who you are for anything. If something makes you happy, go with it. If you feel down, send me a message and I'll talk to you if you need. It might take me a day or two, but I will. Anyway, guys, we will catch you later. I hope this at least helped a couple of you out. Later.